Welcome to the Personal Trainers Who Care podcast. My name is Catherine Marion, and I'm a manager and trainer at the Freeform Fitness Wellington West location, and I will also be your host as we get to know another fabulous member of our team. Here, we share the stories of our personal trainers because at the heart of every fitness business is a passionate individual who cares about changing lives and helping others reach their full health potential. This podcast is a production of Freeform Fitness, a boutique-style personal training studio with 6 locations across Ottawa, Canada. We hire the very best personal trainers who are ambitious, hardworking team players and who know how to get their clients results. Our trainers provide expert personal training services in studio, but also online, and every program is tailored to the individual needs of the client. If you want to learn more about Freeform Fitness, be sure to visit freeformfitness.ca. Today, for our 6th episode, we are going to be talking to Jules Boutet, a personal trainer at our Wellington Street West location. So yes, we do work together. Jules has been with Freeform Fitness since April 2016 and brings much knowledge to our team. Outside of the location, he offers MAT, which is short for Muscle Activation Techniques, for which he's certified in both upper and lower body. Now, interesting fact, Jules has 5 guinea pigs and 2 dogs. Welcome to today's edition of Personal Trainers Who Care. How are you doing, Jules?
Hello. Welcome. Thanks for having me.
Well, listen, thanks for joining me. Now, tell me about this guinea pig situation. 5 of them. What's that all about?
Yeah, it was never supposed to get up to that point.
Is it because they made babies?
Yeah, so we bought one, and then more and more research was saying that we needed a second one for it to live a truly happy life.
Okay.
So they could have like a partner, I guess. So we were told we had a female as the first one, and we went to the same pet store, pet shop, whatever you want to call it, and got another female just to make sure that no babies were gonna happen.
And
Yeah, so like 6 weeks later, one is just getting out of control big, and we're just like, it's not just fat. There's something going on here.
oh no.
It's
So
eating the same thing. It's like,
did you bring it to the vet, or did she just one day you woke up and there were babies in there?
yeah, so we noticed it probably at the very, very end, because I think it was like 4 or 5 days later. We woke up and there was 3 little guinea pigs running around.
So now you have 5. Okay, so how are you going to make sure this doesn't happen? I mean, we're supposed to talk about you and health and fitness. I'm like, how are you going to make sure you don't have 20 more?
So obviously Google helps. So we've identified who's female and who's male, and we've truly separated them now.
Gotcha. Well, there you go. So now
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
I know. Well, you certainly have a full house. So listen, aside from being, an animal lover and a pet lover, you are also a personal trainer. So, how did the love of that begin for you? When did it start that you thought, okay, this is something I would like to do?
Like personal training
Yeah.
or okay. I honestly, I think it started when I was unhappy at my last job.
Mm-hmm.
Like money was great, salary was great. There was just something that wasn't fulfilling. So I was looking at options of what do I love to do and what could I do for free. And I have already started like helping friends and family with fitness, nutrition, working out. And I was like, I'm not getting paid for any of this. So like, obviously I can do this for free. I enjoy it. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy the process. I enjoy helping people go like get better. I was like, I'm gonna give this a shot. And I saw that like I follow Ashley on Facebook,
Yes.
and I saw that she was doing like the Freeform Academy and da da da. So I was like, so I just messaged her. I was like, how does this work? And yeah, it started like that. So I quit my job with nothing basically going forward. I
Wow.
just quit.
You just
And I
went
was
for it.
like, yeah. and I gave 1 month notice. I was like, 1 month should be plenty of time.
Of
And
course.
on day 30, preform called me for an interview. So
Wonderful. So and then it just all fell into place, and you ended up at the gym where I work, and so
yeah.
kismet, right? So you went to that point mostly because you didn't love your job, and you decided you wanted to do something that you really enjoy. How did you find that transition from going from what most people consider to be a regular job to something that is really very different? I mean, really physical.
Yeah, I mean, my last job was very physical, to be honest, because like, I was working where there was a hobby farm.
Okay.
Well, a little bit more than a hobby farm. So, like, everything farmers do, like the hay bales and all of that, and
Oh, that is
like
physical. How did I not know that? That's super interesting.
stack the big like hay trucks and make sure that you bring them from the field to in the big barn. Like we were doing all of that because we had like I think 6 cows, 3 horses, pigs, like
Wow.
so chickens. So we had to take care of all of that with the people we were, I guess, taking care of at that point. Because I was basically in a group home for people that had mental difficulties. So
Okay.
they were like we were like introducing them to the work life in a controlled environment.
Okay. Beautiful.
So yeah. So yeah, so it was very physical. But I still found time to go work out almost every day. So I think what changed the most from that job to personal training was the hours.
Yes. Tell us about that, right? What's the big difference there?
Uh, so I thought it was tough to be at work for 8 a.m. when I was working at my last job. It was at 8:30 actually. And I was like, man, this is way too early. And then I had my first few 6 a.m. clients, and I was like, this is a whole nother life.
Yeah. I remember you walking into the gym, 10 minutes before 6, and you didn't look your happiest. It's early
Oh,
in the morning, isn't it? It's not for everybody, right?
yeah, I'm just not a morning person. I don't know what it is. I guess it'll have to change at some point because
Maybe. But I think the beauty of it, in our industry is that um, for people who are looking to train, they have to do it when it fits in their schedule. So for some, it really is 6 a.m. because they want to do it before they get to work. But for others, it's 7 p.m. When they're done work, or once they've come home and taken care of their kids, whatever their situation is. So you were able to adjust you were able to kind of test out the waters and see what different hours are, and then create a schedule that works for you, right?
right, exactly. I basically like you said at the very beginning, my schedule was wide open.
Yeah.
So I'd come in at 6 and then have clients the same day at like 7 at night.
Yeah.
But that allowed me to see where my clients would slot in,
Yeah.
and then I could adjust the schedule.
Yeah.
So luckily for me, most of my clients were evening, so
So that's it. No more 6 a.m. for you.
not anymore. And honestly, the pandemic kind of helped with that too,
Yes.
because I was able to take some time off, reassess, and just yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it has been, I think for us as personal trainers, the pandemic has affected us greatly, but it has our clients as well, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, yeah.
What do you see most when you talk to some of our members?
Like in terms of how it affected
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Um, well, most of them like already had a good home setup, surprisingly, at least my clients.
Yeah.
And but it's way different. It's just way different. Like let's say at home you have up to 20, 30 pounds, but some of my clients we were doing very, very good in terms of strength training.
Yeah.
And it's a different feeling to lift, let's say 200 pounds for 5 reps compared to 20 pounds for 20 reps, right? So
Yeah, absolutely. And the beauty of it is that we're adapting and they're adapting, and we're just making the best of this, this situation until we can open up again, right?
Absolutely.
So when we go back to where you make this decision and then you take the Freeform Academy, what's the biggest difference you think between what they teach us in classes and then what really happens in real life in the gym?
I thought, like, I've heard like of other courses from what I've seen and
Mhm.
what my friends and coworkers have talked to me about. And honestly, I don't think anything really compared to Freeform Academy. So I think I got a little advancement a little bit
Yeah.
with that, because if you look at what are the other names, like CanFit Pro, or
Yeah.
things that trainers actually need to be certified in order to pursue a personal training career, um, they're just very specific on things that aren't really necessary. I think, in my opinion, it's more of a money grab than anything
Mhm.
else.
Mhm.
But yeah, there nothing compares to being on the field,
Of course.
because what you learn in the textbook is like, oh, if someone has knee pain, you do this, but that never really applies the same way to everyone.
Yeah.
And like, you have to adapt constantly on the fly sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's just, to me, it's the best way to learn.
That's it, right? With the person in front of you
Yeah.
and trying to adjust as they go.
Yeah.
So that means that you're, always trying to stay up to date, right? With new
Yeah.
techniques and new exercises. And so where do you find, the best knowledge for you? Is it in-person things or it's online things or it's a combination?
Where I try to get more
To get some
knowledge.
more to get some more knowledge and to sort of stay up to date.
Yeah, I mean, you always want to, right? Try to learn more about more stuff. And honestly, conversations with coworkers is where I find I can learn the most, and seeing them work. Um, like when I first started at Freeform Fitness, I remember, um, it was Tyler.
Yes.
Yeah. Just watching him with his clients, and him explaining different things, and like, I'm a very, like, if I hear it, I can learn it, then I can apply it.
Yeah.
So I just, most of the time, I just sit and listen. So that was a great learning experience right there, even though it didn't stay very long.
You were just starting, so that
Yeah.
now you're like this sponge trying to take everything in.
Exactly, exactly. So I learned quite a bit, and my own, like, personal trainer that I had for my bodybuilding show,
Mhm.
learned quite a bit from him too. So that, like, yeah. So for me, the best way to learn is like communication with other people that do things in the same way or maybe different, and like, online courses obviously are good.
So that brings us back to our clients, to the members, to our Freeform Fitness members. There's a wide variety of type of client, right? And so how does that work for you? Because there are some people who are, perhaps really young, really fit, nothing major going on physically as far as limitations. Whereas, there's a whole other side of the spectrum. How do you deal with that kind of difference?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, my goal is to get everyone to, like, squat properly, hinge properly, and have good scapular movement.
Okay, now
Those are my,
before you go on, why are those things important to you for them to be able to scapular movement, hinging, and squatting?
I just think they're the things that, like, you do most,
Mhm.
like, every day,
Yeah,
like, never mind in the gym, just every day. And like, hinging and squatting, like, are just going to be foolproof movements in terms of like your knee health and hips, like hip health. And then if your shoulder blades don't move properly, or one's moving very well and the other one's stuck, then you'll have a lot of shoulder problems. So just making sure everything moves like it should is, for me, is the best start, because then you can go into the more complex movements without any fear of like injury or complications.
Yeah. And certainly the technique that you'll use with, or is it, perhaps it's not, is the technique that you use with someone who's, pretty fit, doesn't have any issues, is it different than someone, for instance, who comes in with, arthritis, or, just had a hip replacement, or has, low back pain?
Yeah, like the progressions are very different, although the end goal might be the same. So yeah, I don't really know how to get in details with this, but
But the idea is the end result, the end goal stays the same, is what you're trying to get.
Yeah, like for a young athlete, it might take 2 sessions and we're already at that goal, because everything moves properly, everything's good, and we can start building strength and going right at it. For someone who has more limitations, it might take 4 weeks, it might take 4 months. Like, so it's all about building like progression and making sure that along the way we're still sticking to that first goal.
Yeah. So if someone's at home watching and they're thinking, man, I've got, my shoulder hurts and my low back hurts, and, I haven't ever been in a gym before. If they're feeling that it's too late for them, what would you say to someone like that? Is it ever too late?
No, it's never too late to do anything in life, like anything at all. Like obviously, yes, your body slows down as you're older, as you get older. But it's all about living the best of your life in the best way possible. Like the rest of your life in the best way possible.
Yeah. And moving is one of those things, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because what's health if you can't move around?
There you go. So
Like,
moving around brings me back to your MAP. So muscle activation technique, or MAT. I keep saying MAP.
Matt, yeah,
It's
yeah.
MAT, muscle activation technique.
Well, it is kind of a map to the body.
Well, tell us a little bit about that, because that's really interesting. Full disclosure, you've helped me with some strange shoulder thing I've got going on, and it's very fascinating what you do. Tell us a little bit about that.
So MAT, muscle activation technique, is pretty much like a process in which we assess the contractile ability of the muscles. Like every muscle in the body has a function and has a job to do. And my job, like with MAT, is to find which one is being lazy, which one is not doing their job and preventing maybe another one from contracting efficiently. So basically it's comparing right side to left side, seeing range of movements, see how well things are contracting. And from there, if I see a limitation, then I go into a muscle test kind of phase where we test different muscles that bring that body part into that range of motion.
Okay.
And then from there, you find a weak link. And then what we do is we palpate and massage the origin point of the muscle and the insertion point of the muscle. So, because that's where all the like the nervous or the nerves are, or the like that's where the sensory input is.
Okay.
So by sending that signal back to the brain, basically, we're telling the brain, when you want to bring your body into that range of motion, I want you to use this muscle that you've just activated.
Interesting.
And then you retest it, test strong most of the time.
It does. To me, it's extremely fascinating. As someone who's was on the table and we're trying to figure out my shoulder thing, but I could feel the difference in how it was moving. So I can only imagine how with your own clients, that's got to be really helpful for you as you train them, no?
Yeah, 100%. It allowed me to have a better understanding of what the body does and how it works. It is hard to incorporate within a session. So if I see someone who has a strong limitation, or we've been, I don't know, doing squats and all of a sudden like the knee starts to ache a little bit, and I'm just like, okay, so something's going on. So what I'll do is I'll just like ask them to come in at another time, and then I'll assess them and see what the problem is. And then from there, I can adapt the training a little bit if I need to, or give them exercises they can do at home to try and strengthen that range of motion.
Yeah.
Because with a specific muscle like that, from the knowledge that I have from that program, there's no way to exercise the muscle that is turned off.
That's not
If
firing
you
up.
know, yeah, you can strengthen that range of motion.
Okay.
All right. But that specific muscle will always be like not working until you find why it's not working.
Wow. And send the signal
Yeah.
to get
And
it.
this, yeah. And sometimes like you'll, like, for example, I'll like, let's say someone, his chest is as a like trouble firing, can't quite get contraction in his chest, and I'll go activate, let's say like a rear delt,
Okay.
okay, because that was the weak point. Then all of a sudden the rear delt is working, so therefore his chest. So it's not always where the issue is,
Yes.
but yeah. So
That's incredible. So are
and
you
it's
able,
super fun.
well, I was going to say for you, because it's almost like a puzzle, right? Where you can sort of
Yeah.
figure things out. And I'm sure that for the clients, it's like, wow, like things are so much better now that I can move this particular muscle, or, move in a specific way, have a larger range of motion depending on what we're trying to aim for. So it can only be really helpful.
Yeah. Because yeah, like your mobility, like you can add more range of motion, more mobility by stretching or rolling, or but that just brings you into a range of motion where your body, where you normally wouldn't go, it
Okay.
is now in a like a weak point. So if you go to that range of motion and add some resistance, then your body's already been telling you not to go there. So you've stretched, you've brought yourself there, but now you're weak in that position.
Okay.
So that's what I mean by you can strengthen the range of motion, but those muscles will always go back to what they know.
So interesting. Unless they, people come to see you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the only way, but it's definitely a way.
Anyway, that's super interesting. So that brings me back to you. Are these sort of techniques that you can actually use on yourself in your own training, or do you really, is it easier when somebody else, because you learned this from other specialists, or is it just easier if somebody else is sort of objectively, looking at you?
Yeah, no, it's pretty hard to self-assess.
Yeah.
Like I know all of my problems based on other people assessing me, but if they didn't tell me, I wouldn't have known.
Right.
Because it just feels like the way you feel after an assessment and the way your body moves is just so different.
Yeah.
That you think that, like, before, like, let's say someone just rearranges how your hips are positioned. Like, before you feel straight, you're like, this is me, I'm normal, this is me being straight, like, but then you get assessed and, like, I guess fixed.
Yeah.
And then you're like, no, like, this feels weird, I feel like I'm crooked now, but that's how
But
your hips should sit.
and we get used to the things that we do over time, months and years, where we are crooked. That's why it becomes the normal feeling, because we've
Yeah,
been doing it for so long, right?
yeah, exactly.
All right, so you can't assess yourself, but you can train. What's your personal training like? I know it's very different right now because there's gym and then there's gym closures because of the pandemic. So what was it like before and what is it like now? What's your favorite way of training?
I mean, bodybuilding style, obviously. Uh, I, I've incorporated more like powerlifting stuff in the last few years because the goal of getting stronger was definitely up there.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's I do it for fun.
Training, you mean? Weight training?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I enjoy getting in the gym, lifting heavy things, and like just that feeling afterward.
Yeah. And right now, there is no gym.
Yeah.
So how do you keep yourself busy, right? Like what can you do when you can't go into a, because we don't have trap bars and deadlifts. I mean, I know you and I don't in our homes. So
No.
what can you do? What is it that you're trying to do, for physically, but also there's a big mental component of it, like mental health component, right?
Yeah. Like obviously moving is important.
Yeah.
So I try to move an hour a day.
Nice.
That's my goal. And on it, like it's mostly sports most of the time.
Yeah.
Walking part of it if I don't find time, but most of the time it's sports. I find a way to get a sport in with even now today, like with friends, it's a little bit harder, but
Yeah. But like you were out
So
playing golf yesterday, for instance, and this is allowed now, right? And I mean, it's outside and it's distance. And so, that's a way to get some air and to enjoy something,
yeah,
to do something you enjoy. And there's
yeah,
a lot of walking involved when you're golfing.
yeah, yeah. Like yesterday, we ended up walking 13 kilometers. So it's
Wow.
like it's it's not much
Mhm.
compared to an active lifestyle, but it's way better than to grab a cart and drive around.
Yes. So
So
what would be the message then for some of, someone's thinking, okay, I don't have a lot at home. I have, let's say, a mat and a band and some stairs, right, to get to my second level. Is it worth it for me to move using the little amount of things, or should I just do nothing until we get to reopen, which could be late July? Like, how do you broach this subject? What do you think?
that's a tough one because I I always say like you have to do what you love doing, but most like some people don't love exercising or don't love moving around. They're rather, I don't know, watch TV or work or
Yeah.
I don't know, play video games. Um, so if you're in that position where you don't really love exercise, but you know you need to, then I would just schedule something every day so that you know that at that time that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
Or maybe not like, yeah. So even though it's 20, 30 minutes, you do it, get it done, and just go from there. And it can be as simple as just going for walks.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to block a 4 hour, you know, unless
No.
you're going for a big bike ride or a golf game, but you don't need to
Yeah.
block off a whole lot of time. You can move in, shorter
Yeah.
spurts every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So in your downtime, so now, you and I are both training clients online. So we're meeting our clients through Zoom, kind of like we're doing today until we get to open the gym again. So let's say today you've met all your clients and you got all your work done. And so now you have some downtime. What's some of your favorite things to do when you've got time to yourself?
It's gonna sound redundant, but sports.
Hey, well, see, that's all right though. Good answer.
I sports are a big part of my life. I watch sports, I play sports via video games, I bet on sports, I like
That's adorable.
sports, mainly hockey to be honest. And right now it's like playoff time,
Yeah.
so there's games every night basically. They're intense, they mean something, so it's really interesting. I even watch golf on TV. Like I and recently I've just gotten really into F1 racing.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah.
So and I thought it was nothing before, but like these guys, and I'm sure women out there race, but they're like crazy athletes,
Yeah.
and it surprised the hell out of me.
Yeah. Well, my parents have been watching it since I was little. And so I grew up watching it all the time. It's only later that I realized they're actually working really hard, these people. But not only that, there must be like an adrenaline rush. Like my adrenaline rush is if I succeed my squat. Theirs is like, let's hope I don't crash into someone or something, you know?
Yeah, like the amount of G-force they go through in a race is ridiculous.
Well, not for me. Not just, just putting that out there. All right.
I would love to try it someday.
Really? Have you ever
Yeah.
done one of those? Have you ever done one of those? What do you call that with that indoor racing? I know there's one on the Gatineau side. Is that
Like karting?
Yes. Have you ever done that?
Yeah, we went for a freeform party a couple years ago.
No, and I couldn't make it that time.
There you go. You missed it.
Oh, well, I know, but I heard there's like fumes, right? Right? Like there's a whole lot of.
Yeah, but who cares?
Okay, I'm a wimp. What can I say? I'm a wimp.
But yeah, that was amazing. I got first place, but like
oh yeah, that's just an aside.
Yeah.
Right on. I do have some rapid fire questions I want to throw at you, but a couple things I want to make sure that I mention. First of all, you just posted a really fun video about a day in the life.
Yeah.
On our YouTube channel, which I thought was really fun, which is where I learned about your 5 guinea pigs. So people, if they want to know, what a day in the life of a trainer who can't really train in a gym, but it gives us an idea of what we do, so we can see that on our YouTube channel. And there's one more thing everybody needs to about you and me, c'est qu'on est bilingue.
Oui, 100%.
Alors, s'il y a des gens francophones qui viennent au gym, qui sont plus à l'aise, ben ils peuvent te voir en français, ils peuvent me voir en français, puis ils peuvent être à l'aise comme ça.
Ouais, c'est plus tricky un peu d'entraîner en français parce qu'on est tellement habitué d'utiliser les termes en anglais. Fait.
Tout à fait d'accord. Un squat, c'est un squat. Je pense pas qu'il y a un autre mot pour ça. Un deadlift, je ne sais pas. Mais c'est un service qu'on a fièrement, alors je voulais lancer ça aux gens pour qu'ils puissent le savoir.
Ouais, 100%. Puis il y a plusieurs. Il y a certains de mes clients que j'avais aucune idée qui étaient francophones jusqu'à temps qu'ils m'entendent parler français à quelqu'un, probablement à toi.
Ouais, oui, ça nous arrive.
Ouais, non, c'est ça. Fait que si vous voulez absolument travailler en français, vous pouvez demander directement un service en français. Il n'y a pas de problème.
Super. Okay, alors, let's go back to English.
Yep.
Rapid fire questions. Are you ready for this?
Sure.
All right. So, what's something you know now that you wish you knew when you first started personal training?
How to manage my time.
Yes. All right, good answer. I like that.
Yeah.
It's a good thing you've got that down now.
Yep.
All right. What's the first skill you teach beginners? Now, we did talk about this already, but the first skill you would teach someone who's just starting, who's never been in a gym?
Like a client?
Yeah.
Body awareness.
Okay, what does that mean for you?
Know what you're doing when you're doing it. That's what it means to me.
Yeah.
So it's all about not going just through the motion. Like if I ask you to squat, are you just going up and down, or are you thinking of what should be moving when? And because that's very important.
Interesting. Do you find that a lot of people, lack a little bit of body awareness when they start?
100%. Yeah. So that's why my main focus at first is that. Just think about what you're doing.
Very cool. And what do you think your most valuable coaching skill is?
I don't know if it's a skill, but I like your people skill. Like you have to know when to push, when to lay back, when to encourage, when to be a little bit more firm. So just knowing that, I find, for me at least, I think is what I find helps me the most. Mm-hmm. In terms of like keeping clients, making sure they're happy when they're training and all that.
And that kind of ties back into the whole personal training thing where every client is different. And so we are adapting to them so that they feel comfortable coming in. They feel comfortable and connected to the person who's training them.
100%. That's the main goal, because most of them come in because they don't want to be in a big box gym.
Yeah.
And yeah. So
awesome. All right, so we've got a few more weeks to go of this lockdown. One last question for you. What are you looking forward to most when we get back into the gym? You know, I unlock the door, I turn on all the lights. It's not 6 a.m., it's noon for you, but you know, what are you looking forward to most?
Just honestly seeing people again,
Yeah.
connecting, sharing stories. Like, yeah, it's just the atmosphere in the gym and the ambiance and the like the friendships you build.
Yeah.
It just, to me, it just can't be replaced.
Yeah.
And just, yeah, just cranking the music and lifting heavy things. That's all I want.
I know. And I'm looking forward to it as well. I really am. I think we all are. All right. So listen, thank you so much for joining us on our 6th edition of the Personal Trainers Who Care podcast. I'm so glad that you were able to spend some time with me today. And your guinea pigs, they didn't make so much noise. You said they might make some noise.
I heard them.
Oh. Well, we couldn't hear them through the screen, so that's pretty good.
Perfect.
Awesome. So listen, I'm going to let you off the hook. I hope you have a really great day. Everybody at home, if you want to know more about Jules, you can look him up. He's on Instagram. You'll find him on our Facebook page. When you look up Freeform Fitness as well, you'll be able to see all of our trainers. You can get some information there as well. If you want more information about Freeform Fitness, you can always check us out at freeformfitness.ca. And so I want to thank everybody for watching today and for letting Jules into your lives a little bit and find out a little bit more about him. And if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you like it. Make sure you subscribe. There's always more content. We're always trying to get some new creative content out there, again, here, but also on Instagram and on Facebook. And we're also on Twitter. So yeah, that about covers it for us today. Merci, Jules.
De rien.
See you next time. Bienvenue. All right. See you next time, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you to everyone for watching. Be sure to check out our past podcasts to get to know more of our fabulous team members. And while you're there, make sure to subscribe and to like. There's always lots more content all about health and fitness and wellness. That's it for today. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.